Hop in. Got options. So I can run that exactly.
We
All right.
are live.
Live. Coming to you live. Hello. All right, so I don't have an intro yet, but
Okay.
I'm Shelly Bell, and you are,
I am Cami Wolf.
and we are talking about health and nutrition and eating and business and stuff. So so this week, all right, I feel like my body is calling for me to be a vegetarian,
Okay.
and I'm in denial. So like one day I ate some like a piece of bread or something, and it was my stomach was hurting. So I've been doing 2 miles a day. I've been going on 2 mile walks every day.
Okay, so give people a little preference on the things you're doing that you're like rock star, doing it all the time, feeling really good about it. Let's start there.
Okay, well welcome. I am, if you're following this, you probably know who I am professionally. I'm Shelly Bell, the founder and CEO of Black Girl Ventures, and I've been working with Cami under her company Canis with Camille to like really get my nutrition together, because as founders, you don't eat, right? And I mean, a lot of times you are like overworking, working hard, and you just not eating. And that was my thing. Like I was, team no sleep, and you going hard in whatever paint, and like you're doing all these things, and all that sounds great, but you're not actually nourishing yourself, which can become, makes you tired. Also, just you're not working, you have brain fog, you're not working to your like highest sense of self or level. And it's been a struggle for me, honestly. Like I've loved working with Cami, but nutrition as a startup founder has been super hard. Because I get busy. Like today, I did my 2 mile walk. I came back in. I had to be on a call with my team. After being on a call with my team, I had to go to do an interview prep, did an interview prep. After I did the interview prep, I had to go right into the next meeting with the partner, a funder, went into the meeting with the funder. And all these meetings have been great, but guess what I hadn't done? I hadn't eaten anything up to that point. So I go into the meeting with the funder. I come out of the meeting with the funder. I go into the meeting with another team. It's just like meeting, and noticing that like, so I bought some smoothie stuff last night. So Cami has been trying to get me to like toss in a smoothie, but it wasn't. I didn't make it in a blender, so I'm cheating. I just bought a Boathouse green.
Honestly, what I've been telling Shelly week after week is like, what is the best version of a smoothie is the one that you're actually going to eat, right? So if coming in a Bolthouse, the Bolthouse Farms version in a bottle that you're going to pour for yourself, that's fine as long as you're going to actually drink it consistently, right? Because health and wellness is great to think about in theory, but until it's actually applied into your day-to-day life, then it's not really going to make much of a difference, right? And one thing that's interesting about right now versus like pre-pandemic is like, at least pre-pandemic, you were able to meet, a funder for lunch at an actual restaurant. So you were eating a meal then, whereas like now you're over Zoom and you're like, you're not really allowed to eat on Zoom. It's kind of like a weird thing. But like, should we make lunch Zooms a thing?
I think we should make lunch Zooms a thing, because I feel like I'm not the only one experiencing this problem of like not eating as a founder or as a business person, or even now, like just as if you working in a job, because we're all home and we're all doing these virtual meetings. So I think that's interesting to do like a lunch, like start to make Zooms lunch Zoom, because even when you try to eat on Zoom, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, or you're like, oh, let me turn my camera off because I don't want you to just see me eating, or like, I'm sorry, I really got to get some lunch in, so I'm gonna have to eat. Like you do all these like excuses around having to do it because people are, I guess, not used to it, ready for it. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and like you going back to back to back, not eating all day, and then all of a sudden realizing it's 5 o'clock and it's time to eat, like you're not going to be functioning optimally. And like you have so much you're bringing to the world, and so keeping you functioning at your highest level is so important, right? And so I think last week we talked about, or 2 weeks ago we had talked about, literally your only job was to introduce a smoothie.
Don't say it like that. Don't say literally biology.
Literally.
Yeah, one job.
No. You have no wait. You have 1,050 other jobs, but the health and wellness job for yourself was to, right, just introduce a smoothie, not just, but introduce a smoothie, and then have 2 snacks a day. And so, how did the snacks go? Because a lot of what I like to get into, we've gotten into this numerous times, is okay. Like, what are the roadblocks? Let's look at the roadblocks and let's figure out how can we make this happen.
So I did some snacks. So I did have a couple dates, some dates on some days. The dates are good, and so that was good. I did have, but then I did have like popcorn.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't. I ran out of grapes, so I didn't have any more grapes.
Well, that's good you ran out. It means you ate them.
Right, this is true. Because if I have grapes, oh, I'm on it. Like as soon as I come back in for my walk, I can eat a couple grapes and I'm good to go.
Yeah. So also a big part of your wellness plan is movement. So you've been introducing some movement into your life lately, which I think is awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited about the movement part. So I committed to 2 miles a day.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of mapped out where I'm going. So I know like how far to go up is a mile, turn around, come back. Sometimes I do a little over. It's been a huge commitment though. I do it early in the morning, so it's early enough.
Okay.
But there are some mornings where I'm like, but I did it anyway.
What's your plan for when it gets a little colder?
True. So a couple times it has been cold, I just walked around the building.
Okay.
It's not as fun and it's not as scenic.
Yeah.
Because literally the halls all look the same. But I'm so committed to just doing this 2 months. And so in BGV, we have a little BGV fitness challenge happening right now where we're doing like 70 miles by the end of the year or something, I think. And one, that's crazy. Our head of digital strategy and marketing, she did that, and I'm like, but I mean, but I got my 2 miles a day. That's all I got. Like one of my friends, she was like, "That's all you gonna do?" I'm like, "Yes, that's all I'm committed to." And so she came to visit, and so she was like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna run on.
Yeah.
Have at it. I'm gonna be right here walking. I'm not running." Like, because
can you speak a little bit to like figuring out what works for you best as opposed to like what's going to work for everyone else, or what because it is so individual.
And it's actually a fight. It's a debate. It is like, oh no, you shouldn't eat that because that will. Oh no, you should eat this because this will. Oh well, you gonna run? I mean, you gonna walk that slow? How long does it take you to do it? It takes me about 20 minutes to do a mile. And I'm like, yep, that's all I'm gonna do. That's what I committed to. I committed to two. And even another friend of mine, we were doing kind of like a challenge too. And I said, well, let me tell you something. I have 2 miles a day, and that's it. Like I'm not challenge me if you want to, but I'm letting you know I'll get into this for fun. But what I'm doing is 2 miles a day. So it's been having to even push back on where people would feel like they're challenging you in a good way.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I know this is what I can do right now. And I know I can increase that over time when I'm ready and when I feel like it. One of my friends actually pushed me to stop thinking about the time frame or the distance and to start observing all the nature that I'm walking past. So that was also helpful because I started noticing like a bunch of crickets and You know, like different little things that were happening, and the same people allowed. So when I go out in the morning, there's the same people there.
Yeah.
You know, coming in, they're walking, we're walking, so we kind of know each other now, I guess. We're like walking friends. We're like walking.
So you have a walking community now?
Oh Lord. Right, listen, just 2 miles, all right, Cami? That's all I got. I can't think about nothing else.
So wait. I'm hearing now you're looking at cricket. So you just built your walk into a spiritual practice, and now you have a walking community.
I guess you could look at it like that. I guess you can look at it that way. So possibly a community of folks is forming or has been formed. I entered into their community. It wasn't even me. I didn't do it.
It's like walk church.
Walk church.
Walk church.
Walking church. So actually that has been cool because being outside is just, I don't know, I feel really unlimited when I'm outside because you're just out there in the middle of air. Like you're not confined, all you have is your clothes.
Yeah.
You're there. And so that has been cool to do that. And I kind of enjoy getting out. And sometimes when it's cold, I'll just make sure I have on the right gear and then head out. But I'll still have to go and get the right gear once it gets colder. Because what I have now, I think my leggings are a little too thin for a cold.
Yeah, we should get like a walk sponsor for you for this winter.
That's great. If you have anybody in mind, that'd be
like a local jacket company that wants to.
Well, that's interesting to think about getting a walking sponsor because I live on a main highway. So I live on Richmond Highway.
Yeah.
And it is a main highway. So if there is an interest in some winter jacket company that wants to do that, like not only could we do something social, but I also live on a really main highway. So like when I'm walking, people will definitely see it.
I love that. You're like, I'm a walking billboard.
Yes, give me all the free clothes. I need leggings. So I need leggings that are equipped for being outside in the winter. All of that. So yeah, but you know what? I think the walking has increased my appetite, which then I'm like, okay, I want to eat, but then I don't know what I want to eat. And I think this is also coming from my medicine, which you talked about before, which is like, I'm taking a medication that I have to take every day for narcolepsy, which is like a huge like dose of caffeine for the most part. Yeah. And but it makes me not hungry. And so for anybody out there who is taking medication that affects your food, I feel your pain because that's what I'm struggling with right now.
Yeah. So what we've done with that for Shelly is because she's taking something that is a stimulant, right? So when your body is being stimulated constantly, the little glands sitting above your kidneys, they're called your adrenals, are constantly firing. So you're in a fight or flight response. So what we've done is we've put Shelly on adrenal support, so some herbs that are helping to support her adrenals. But the side effect of that medicine is she's not very hungry. So when you don't really know what you want to eat or really have no appetite to eat, I feel like you find yourself kind of thinking about it and then, not thinking about it for another couple hours. And then, we've talked about this before. One of your major pain points is then like at the end of the day, you're starving, right? So what I've been trying to get Shelly to do is at the end of the day is to start looking to glucose. So getting some fruit into her life, because what happens is when you are low on glucose in the body, your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that makes decisions, no longer functions optimally. So you ever wonder why you go home at 5 o'clock, you start making pretty poor decisions in the kitchen? Maybe you grab some alcohol, maybe you grab the closest thing of sugar. It's actually because your body does need sugar, right? So you're low on glucose. So the remedy for that is eating, some fruit. We like to eat the fruit in the first half of the day to replenish those glucose stores. So then when you go home at 5 o'clock, you're not starving, right? So one thing I've had Shelly do is, get the smoothies in, but also, at the end of the day, reaching for something like a date that does have a little extra sugar to rebalance the blood sugar before, she starts making decisions about what else she's going to eat, because we want her prefrontal cortex functioning and making, the healthiest decision for her in that moment.
Yes,
Which is
we
usually
do.
just eating food, because Shelly has a tendency to not eat.
And so I feel like my body is really feels better when I'm just eating vegetables. But I also feel me having a resistance to being a vegetarian, like vegetarian. So and what's crazy about it, I'm only eating. Go ahead.
What is that like? What are all the underlying messages you have behind that word?
Yeah. So I think this kind of goes back to something we talked about before, where like for me, changing anything diet wise or moving your body has heavily been tied to losing weight and not tied to being more healthy. And I think like subliminally, I'm like, when people are becoming vegetarians, I'm like, well, I mean, they're not losing weight, like, so there's an interruption there that I need to move, like where this block that I need to move around what it means to be a vegetarian and what is that actually doing for your body. Because I think viewing weight, like I feel like I've been programmed to view weight as the most unhealthy thing that you are, and that's not real, right? Like those things are just not always tied together. So I would just say that also just like, what am I going to miss out on? So a little bit of FOMO is like, if I become a vegetarian, what will I not be able to eat? Will I never be able to eat it? What will I? And these are self-imposed rules. Nobody told me to be nobody told me to be a vegetarian.
What if you're like vegetarian-ish?
Well, I've been pescatarian plus bacon for the last like 2 years. So I can't imagine giving up bacon. I can't imagine giving up bacon. So I think that's also probably it. The bacon is calling me.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think when we go into that black or white thinking, right? Like we say, okay, I'm gonna be a vegetarian. And then the opposite side of that is never eating meat ever again. Like it doesn't have to be all or nothing, right? I think that you can be mostly vegetarian or vegetarian on the weekdays, or just eat a little less meat, right? It doesn't have to be all or nothing. But our brain loves to make these ultimatums. And I think often we make ultimatums like that because, we like have our best intention in mind, but also I think sometimes when we make decisions like that and we end up not following through, we feel a little bit of shame, right? And sometimes I think we're so conditioned to feel shame that we do things sometimes that we know like it's going to make us feel a little shitty when we don't follow through on the other side.
I think so. And I think like, so to that point, we don't have success that we can measure it against. So it's like, oh, like, well, if I'm consistently being this, then I am that.
Yeah.
Right. So like I could go without eating any meat for, a week and not ever call myself a vegetarian, not think anything about it.
Yeah.
But the moment I call myself a vegetarian, I feel like I have to stick to it, or now I'm not being something. I'm not, I'm not being successful at being a vegetarian, and it's like all these self-imposed, like I said, ideas and things that are not, that I have to measure up to.
Yeah, it's just like in business when you're like, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And it's like, whoa. Can you just start with, just start putting one foot in front of the other as opposed to deciding all these things up front. But I think we get excited and we do measure our success against like, okay, well, if I say I'm vegetarian and then I stay vegetarian, then like I feel good about myself. Right? Because we're always just, I think, trying to pump up our I don't know if it's our ego, but feel good mechanism within ourselves.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I think that's 100% right. So, what advice would you give someone out there who is just, going through their day, trying to get all their things done from a business perspective and getting to the end of the day? Like what they should grab
Yeah.
some fruit. What should they do?
One, I think that there's a few different things. We'll start with prep on Saturday or Sunday. Decide what you're going to, do for grocery shopping before the week starts. So whether or not that's ordering from Instacart or having your assistant order for you, um, making sure you're always getting your breakfast in, because if you are an entrepreneur, like you may not be able to control lunch or dinner, but you can always control breakfast, right? Like either you have your lemon water ready to go the night before, or you have your smoothie ingredients prepped in the blender in the fridge ready to blend first thing in the morning, or you can do smoothie packets. There's so many different companies that have like pre-made smoothies. You can get pretty good options like out at different places if you just communicate what you're looking to eat something healthy. Another thing I would do is, if you are eating a special diet, like tell someone, right? So if it is a business dinner you're going to, like let people know beforehand that you want to have something healthy as an option on the menu. So if you're going out to dinner, like going to places that have, are farm to table, right? And if you're going to like a business dinner, it's pretty easy. I mean, most restaurants you go to these days are going to have a healthy option. I would also say make sure you stay super hydrated. So if you don't have access to food, at least drinking and having like a glass of water by you all day long, constantly sipping that water. I mean, one of the biggest issues with our health is that we're constantly dehydrated. So if you can at least stay hydrated, that's huge. Also, don't go super hard on caffeine. You think that caffeine gives you energy, but after one cup, your adrenals are going to start to go a little haywire, and you can often get tired from drinking caffeine. So, and caffeine just dehydrates you, right? So if you can actually eat, like good quality glucose, like fruit or complex carbohydrates, that's going to give you the energy to push you through your day, as opposed to false energy in the form of caffeine.
Okay. What are your thoughts on taking naps?
I think taking naps are great, but I would also look at, why do you have to take a nap?
Well, because in kindergarten, they they allow
Like,
all of us naps, and then they took them away. So I think that we should rally for naps to come back. I think that Google has like a napping pod. I think Facebook, like it's the newer like tech companies, they have actual napping
yeah.
pods where you can go and take a nap, and they're awesome too. At least the ones at Google.
Well,
They have, go
I would
ahead.
say, if you want to take a 20-minute nap every now and then, there's nothing wrong with naps. But I would also want to look at, why is your body needing a nap? Your body might be really low on glucose. Your body may be lacking some sort of vital mineral or vitamin. Um, your hormones may be out of balance. So there's just underlying factors that I would want to kind of dig a little deeper. If you're taking a nap every once in a while, I'm not worried about it. But if you're chronically fatigued, I'd be curious to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, I feel like taking a nap. But yeah. But I also think it's because I was working all weekend too. So
Yeah.
and I was up really this morning. So I've been waking up every morning by like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
like work, like all the time. Do you know if there's anything nutrition related that causes you to like wake up in the middle of the night or to things like that?
So a lot of clients who wake up in the middle of the night, first thing I want to look at is their liver health, or their adrenal health, right? So oftentimes your sleep is disturbed because your liver is working too hard in the middle of the night, it wakes you up, right? Also, if your hormones are out of balance and your adrenals and your cortisol are out of whack, that's going to affect your sleep. You know how some people get that like second wind around like 6 p.m. or 7 p.m.? That's actually not natural. That shouldn't happen, right? Like you should be winding down at that time so that you can be asleep by like 10 p.m. But a lot of people start revving up and then they're up till 2 o'clock in the morning, and then they fall asleep for a couple hours, and then they have a super hard time getting up.
Mm.
And that would tell me that their adrenals need some support.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's interesting because I think people are like, "Oh, I'm just a night person." You know,
Yeah.
is that from from your expertise, is that a thing that you're just a night person, or is it, do people have day night?
Yeah, like I would, yes, and like I would look at how much caffeine are you drinking? You know, what does your diet look like? What time are you like? Why are you in this habit? Like, how is your life set up in a way that's supporting this? Right? Like a lot of people, if we're living off, our natural circadian rhythm, night owls wouldn't really exist. Traditionally, right? But who's to say we live a traditional lifestyle anymore? We don't. You can do anything you want. Is it healthy for your body? Probably not. But is it necessary? Like some people have to work the night shift, right? So what I would recommend to people who have to work the night shift is I want you to treat the day as if it's the night. So when you sleep, wear an eye shade so that there's no light getting in, because you want to still get the quality of rest that you deserve, regardless of if you have to work the night shift or not.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, any thoughts on going into this next week? I'm gonna keep working on a smoothie
Yeah.
thing.
How's the lemon water going?
I'm not into it last week, but it's going well. I mean, like in terms of like when I just didn't load it up because I ran out of lemons, but I bought lemons yesterday.
Okay.
So I'll load it up for the rest of the week.
What feels like something that would be really easy that would be good for you this week?
I think the breakfast part, like I got new grapes.
Okay.
I actually bought this packet. I don't know what it's gonna taste like, but it's some like shredded vegetables out of the store. And so I'm gonna try that like as dinner one night.
Okay.
I got some kale because I love it, and so I'm gonna try to go back to doing just like some kale, onions, and garlic. And I think so. What's doable is trying to get this breakfast piece in again. So it's funny, like mixing in one. So I can't mix in the walk and then drop off from the lemon water, right? It's like mix in the lemon water in the smoothie, and I'll drop off from the walk.
So I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
You're really well versed in tech, right? Do you have a lot of automation in your company?
Yeah, not as much as I want though.
But is the goal to have everything eventually automated so that you can using your employees for what they're the best at?
Yes.
Okay. Do you order the same foods every week?
No.
But could you name 10 things you're always going to have that would be really helpful to have on hand?
Yes.
Do you think we could start to automate that?
Okay. Yes. But I think I try to do that with HelloFresh and it's not. But
no, I'm thinking like Shelly Bell always gets lemons once a week. She always gets 2 containers of Bolt Health.
Okay.
It's 2 containers of kale. She gets 2 containers of grapes, and that's it. And you just know that that's your basics that you get every week. Or maybe you get an onion and some garlic too, right? And some greens. So you have maybe 7 things that just come to your doorstep that you don't even think about. And if you're in a pinch, they're just there.
I do think I could do that. Actually, that's a really great suggestion. That's a really great way to do it. Because I could automate it through Amazon, or, like I could automatically have that list. Alexa, buy my same thing every week.
Totally. That is what I want you to do this week.
Okay. I like that one.
Yeah.
I have no pushback on that one.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah, right. That's a win. That is a win. Yeah. Yeah, I like that one. Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to set up the automation, because you know what I want too? I want the seaweed, teriyaki seaweed.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It is. They have on Amazon, they have like a 20 pack. And I buy the 20 pack because it's so freaking good.
Yes.
Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. Okay. Yes. That's good. I can do it.
I said I like this for you.
Yeah. I like that, because if I use them, if I go ahead and use up everything, I could just, yeah. Okay. Got it. We're doing it. It's done.
Hell yeah.
It's done. We're doing it. Okay, cool. That makes. Well, thank you so much for sharing your expertise as always and being here. You want to tell people where to find you, what you're working on? Do you have any liver cleanses coming up?
Liver cleanse will come up in the new year, but I just launched a podcast. It's called Triggered to Life. It's a podcast that invites entrepreneurs, thought leaders, people who have had a dark night of the soul, an aha moment that triggered them back to reality. And so we highlight those stories and talk about the deep depths of your soul. So you can find that on Spotify. I need to have you on very soon, because you have a bunch of amazing stories. But
yeah, I like it.
Yeah. And you can find me on Canis _with_Camille on Instagram, at Wolf Cami on Twitter, and yeah, I'd love to connect there. And thank you, Shelly. I love doing this.
Thank you. This is great. I'm gonna end the